Hello, my friends, and welcome to the as yet unnamed Live with Lava Sub React Edition. It's a terrible name. I don't like it. So, suggestions in the chat. And also, speaking of suggestions, feel free to suggest any show that you would like me to react to. But today, I'm going to be reacting to the 14th season of Ink Master. I haven't seen this season. I watched quite a few of the previous seasons. I started out as a fan of like the Inked YouTube channel, and a lot of the artists there speak really passionately about the subject and are much better represented as themselves. I feel like in those YouTube clips as opposed to the actual show, and we're gonna get into that. I wanted to do this for a long time, mostly because I never really watched reality TV as a kid. Like, it was something that was emerging when I was like in like middle school and high school, and I just thought it was so gross, so cheesy, and I still kind of think this. But now I've actually watched quite a bit of it. I started watching romance reality shows, and man, context, I've been in a relationship for 10 years. Me and my partner have been together for quite a while. So I haven't been in the dating world in a long time. But holy shit, did I start feeling really, really bad for everybody who is. It's a nightmare, y'all. And I feel like there's a lot of, like, at the same time, this is a react kind of thing, a criticism of the media. It's also just like, I'm probably going to be trying to give like advice on how not to do a lot of the things that almost specifically men tend to do in these kinds of shows. We're going to get into it. But so yeah, starting episode 1 of season 14, we're getting past all just the logos and stuff like that. Feel free to contribute to the conversation in the chat. I'm more than happy to field any questions, to discuss any of the topics I bring up. I think one of the interesting things about this season, or about this show, is the money. The money in most of these reality shows is truly the point. Am I right? What's interesting about Ink Master is the amount of money changes season to season. And it almost feels arbitrary the way that they do it. Like, I think earlier seasons, it was 100K. In some of the seasons, it's 200K, depending on, like, I think there was a couple of seasons where they had teams. I know, anyway, but this season, it is 200 again. Or 250, it sounds like, so, yeah. Hitting. I think another interesting distinction between this and a lot of the other reality shows is that in most reality shows, they're actors. Whether or not they're professional actors or it's what they aspire to do or whatever with their lives, they're acting. It's production. And I know Ink Master definitely has some level of kind of like, I mean, obviously level of production, but also producers going around talking about like, maybe emphasize this, or in your confessional here, can you be a little bit more dramatic about X, Y, or Z subject? But ultimately it doesn't matter, because the stuff that people say on this show is just like, it's like, you know when you think of a really kind of silly, dumb thing, and it's like, you kind of laugh to yourself, but you know in your heart that it's not funny, and it's pretty stupid? That's just most of what people say on this show. Right, so, episode 1, yeah. So what's interesting is, this is the first season, because this is the first season with new judges, a new panel of experts, because the previous seasons, I don't know what happened to Nunez. I haven't figured that out yet, why he left the show. But there's no Navarro, there's no Oliver Peck, there's no Chris Nunez. So I know that Navarro is a pretty controversial figure. I've always been a fan. He's my favorite Chili Peppers guitarist, my controversial musical take. But yeah, I know that Oliver Peck isn't doing the show anymore because of a bunch of blackface photos that appeared of him in, like, I think it was around 2020. Which, yeah, obviously, this show is constantly grappling with its identity and trying to play, it's playing the dangerous game that a lot of them do, which is try and be apolitical, which we know as Americans is functionally impossible. And most apolitical content is really just right-leaning. So anyway, it's interesting because I've watched a lot of these seasons, and this is the season where a lot of the artists I recognize from the actual YouTube channel are showing up. They're gonna fight. There's gonna be a fight. One of the little scrappy dudes was being threatened by one of the women on the show. Now that's a reversal from what we see in the past seasons. Me and my partner were watching these, mostly just rage watching them, because of how terrible men tend to be to the women in the show, and how a lot of the time the women will actually be kind of terrible to the other women. You know, I decided season 14, we would give them the best shot. You know, the most modern kind of perspective hopefully being brought to the show. Oh my god, the dude from fucking Good Charlotte's in this? Oh, it's canceled immediately. I'm done. Let's watch something else. No, I hate Good Charlotte, though. I truly do. Like many bands from the East Coast that ended up with record deals in the late 90s to early 2000s when the like pop punk major label boom kind of happened, Good Charlotte was part of a local scene, had every ability to be an independent artist, and instead decided they wanted to suck boot and make songs like Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous. They're cowards. They have no ambition to be real punks. They are losers. All right, so we're introducing the artists. We've got Angel. She's got an asymmetrical cut. She looks like a bad bitch. We've got Bucket Hat and Gauges. I haven't caught his name yet. But I don't like bucket hats. That's a controversial fashion take. I think bucket hats are ass. Thank you, Sam. It is a Gilligan ass hat. This dude is wearing, like, practically wearing a robe? What is happening here? His fashion sense is not bad. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying you wouldn't catch me dead, baby. Alright, we've got... Oh, these are a bunch of returning tattooers. So we've got Hiram. Yeah, it's interesting. So in this season, it doesn't look like they're going to have the big competition to see who goes, like, what big group of people they send home in the first episode. It seems like they're having a bunch of returning people, and, oh, pardon me, those people are all going to be competing against each other. we'll probably lose one at the end of this episode, but it's not going to be like the past seasons where I've seen them kick off a bunch of this at the same time. Got Holly. She looks like literally someone I would have met in a mosh pit. She's got some really cool work on her. Okay, we've got Pawn. I remember Pawn. He's from season 12. Typically traditional, but was able to step outside that box a few times and really deliver some cool tattoos. Not that I mind traditional. I think traditional is lovely. Also, he has a good sense of humor. I remember him from the YouTube channel. Oh, creepy Jason. Alright. Creepy Jason, also from season 12, also with traditional tattoos. Bro, I don't care if it was like a nickname that you earned or whatever, like through your crew or whatever. If you are anyway male presenting in the society and you decide creepy is your new nickname, bro, you're not gonna be my buddy. I'm sorry. Creepy is not the adjective I would describe anyone that I want to be friends with. Creepy dudes is such an implication. I want to know why he has that nickname, because it probably would say a lot about why I already don't like him. I remember him from season 12. He was annoying then. His tattoos are pretty solid, though. He got bad hat mode too. His fashion sense is actually terrible. He's like if like a 1940s barber like got transported to the modern era and was dressed by Machine Gun Kelly. Like that's the kind of what I'm looking at is a white like like Japanese art style tattoo shirt, a bowler hat, leather suspenders. This man needs help. Man, high waisted, friggin' not even jeans, slacks. All right. I don't think I remember Chris. Oh, Chris season 11. Okay. I remember this guy. He was not one of the loudest people because Christian was on that season and that guy was fucking annoying. Although I think Christian was on a few seasons. What a loser. You know, I think a big sign I'm going to dislike you as judging from this show. If you have tattoos on your head or your face and you shave your head bald and you dress like a dork, I'm probably going to hate you. Like, this is just what I found from watching this show. So, pick one. Head tattoos or shave your head bald. I need you to pick one so I can trust you. I'm sorry to all my skinhead homies. Not the Nazi ones, but you were not my homies. But quick aside, just before all the Sharps come in. Sharps are an anti-racist skinhead group. They've been around since like the 60s or some shit. Skinheads aren't racists. That's just boneheads. Boneheads are racist skinheads. This is a whole punk rock dialogue that we don't need to get all the way deep into because it's not pertinent to what we're watching today. But just if you don't know, look into the Sharps, look into other anti-racist skinhead groups. They've been together forever in most cases, and just a lot of really shitty, like, trying not to get into this too deep, but basically, yeah, alongside these anti-racist skinheads, working class skinheads, came out in closer to the 80s, I believe, a lot more racist skinheads that were using that culture, that look, that style to appropriate working class movements and try and worm their way into them. These people are scum. Bash their fucking teeth in. Moving on. Oh, I missed this lady's name. I'm going back because she doesn't have a bucket hat. And she's got a really cool outfit. Katie. Okay, I remember Katie. Season 6? I think, and 8. Yeah. I'm pretty sure she got really close to the final. Very talented. But her outfit's fire. Got like this whole two-piece outfit. All these cool little bubbly cartoon cloud looking motherfuckers. I love it. Oh, what? Oh man. Okay. Uh so Ryan Ashley won in I think season 8 or something like that. Against this dude Gian, who's from Puerto Rico, and like I wanted to support the guy, but he was just so miserable to every woman on that show. It's like hard to like get behind it. Um, he's I think the only reason I had to like actually want to like root for him was he was cute. He's pretty cute. Anyway, he's back and he's got long hair now. Uh, he's already being annoying. Like I need to win this. I deserve this. Everybody's telling me you should have won, man. It's like, what's next, bro? Move the fuck on with your life. Ugh. Alright, good Charlotte Toolbag just showed up. Ugh. Blech. He's the new host. Don't, don't. Everybody's fully double fisting his cock right now. Just like, wow. It's gross. Like, when I have more respect for guitarists from the Red Hot Chili Peppers than you as a musician, I think you need to question your shit, bro. Like, this guy walks in with a fucking fedora. He looks like he wants to be in Run DMC. I fucking hate this man. God, can you hear this? My mic picking up the audio? I'm I'm fully deaf, so sorry, I'm exaggerating, but I did spend most of my life in punk and hardcore shows, so my hearing isn't great. Legitimately. So yeah, 250K is the prize for the season. Let's talk about $250,000. $250,000. Everybody's like, oh, it's life changing. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. $250,000 would not be enough for you to open your own tattoo shop with fully supplied and ready to go, hiring people and shit like that. 250K to start a business is shoot yourself in the foot kind of money, dude. Especially these days. This was shot in 2020, so I mean, even more so now, but still absolutely true for 2020 money. Anyway, 250K, sure, it's a lot of money as for an individual person. You're also going to have to pay taxes on that. So you're going to lose a big chunk of that right there. And B, yeah, it's life-changing for an individual, but to start a business or do anything more with that money, I mean, I have to be a hell of a lot smarter than I am. So interesting. Ryan Ashley is actually going to be one of the judges on this. And considering she whooped Gion's ass in the finale of their season, um, I wonder how that's going to go. So Ryan Ashley is actually really interesting. Ryan Ashley's season of Ink Master um, really took into account her and most of the girls on that show, regardless of what team they were on, really saw the previous seasons of Ink Master and were like, the way that they treat women on this show is fucking terrible. We have to do something about it. And started kind of this low-key alliance of all of the women on the show to look out for each other, to stand up for each other, to try and make sure that there were as many women in that finale as there possibly could be. It was actually really, really fucking cool. They got a lot of hate for it. They dealt with a lot of shit for it. But yeah, they were solid together for most of that time, and I thought it was I thought it was a really cool thing to see on the show. And even then, there was like, oh man, that's where my feelings got so passionate, because all these men couldn't see that this solidarity that these women were showing for each other was like necessary. Literally, while they're trying to demean these people of their abilities, of their like their own like ability to critique even the other work of the artists there. So it was, they were just falling over themselves trying to wrap their brains around this concept of solidarity, and in a competition like I just, it's super frustrating to me to see like people working against each other in these kinds of situations, especially very talented people. Like, the idea behind these shows ought to be essentially a meritocracy. We know, living in America, there's really no such thing. Very rarely will you come up upon an organization that is actually promoting based on actual merit. And most of the time, it's just based on who you know and how much you can kiss ass. So in this show, it's like you're rarely going to see the best tattoo artist actually win the show, because people will conspire against each other, people will throw each other under the bus, people will be actively terrible to each other. And I think that's true about just about all of the competition reality shows where you're allowed to mess with the other competitors in this way. Anyway, Ryan Ashley, very talented artist. And Gian couldn't help himself. She's the one who beat me! Giant baby. Okay, Ami James, I don't know this guy at all. He's another judge. Oh, interesting. He's like more Japanese inspired style. So it's kind of like Oliver and Nunez, where one was more traditional, one was more focused in Japanese, both of which are like the two styles which most of all of tattooing is kind of built off of. Nico Hurtado, the last one. I know the name. I think I've seen like some of his work on celebrities and stuff like that. I think he did The Rock, his big, like the cover up for his big tribal. Right, this whole Dave Grohl or Dave Navarro versus Joel Madden thing is still kicking around in my head, and I just want to say, like, I think it doesn't actually matter. I am just frustrated. I don't want to see this man's face for a whole season. Aesthetically, I trust Navarro though, and I cannot trust Joel Madden in the same way. I wonder if they're going to change up how they get people out. I think that was a major way that a lot of the previous seasons are just built to make bad outcomes for most of the people. So they're doing a 3-round gauntlet for their first challenge. Winner's stay. Loser's tattoo again. Oh, so the judges are picking styles for each part of the challenge. Dude, Angel got some sick work. It's like a castle right here at her clavicle that goes up to like this cool moon, and it looks like, if you're a Magic player, it looks like the Phyrexian symbol. I'm sure it's just coincidental, but it's sick. I don't remember what season Deanna was from, but I really liked her stuff too. I think she was having a hard time the first time on the show. Oh, okay. This one's gonna be geometry. Geometry, fine line stuff. Smart. That's a good way to judge them. Oh. So Ami's given them Kabuki Mask of Hayatoko to tattoo. Interesting. So this is useful. Oh, oh wow. And Nico's giving them color realism. Oh my god. And I think they just have to tattoo the exact designs they're giving. I don't think you can modify. It's it's interesting because it's going to be a great base for like how for the level of talent for the competitors. These are 3 really difficult styles of tattooing to pull off. 3 difficult styles of art to pull off, frankly. Um, Doing it in skin is even more difficult. Mason Aegis. Like, oh. You know, I will say this season has better editing than most of the previous seasons. It's a lot cleaner. Got some inserts here and there just to transition from one moment to another. A lot of people chose the Japanese style tattoo.
Doing it. Color realism, that's what I do. So I'm going to attempt to do.
Yeah, that's going with color realism now. Okay. Jeez. The thing that gets me about tattoo guns is you're holding them like a thing like this thick. It's like probably 3-4 inches in circumference. Which, if you're used to drawing with a pen, it's a fucking totally different vibe. Maybe you're using the super big fucking uh, paint pens. Okay, Angel's going color realism too. Oh, someone chose the fine line. Okay. Katie. Katie went with the fine line geometry stuff. They only had an hour, by the way. They were small tattoos, but they had to be done in an hour. The other tattooers approached Katie to see what she was doing, and she was just like already like just picking like, oh man, you must be really efficient if you're over here checking my work. Like, no, I'm just curious, and ran away. Oh, he was doing the fine line too. Interesting. Maybe he was trying to check her work, or oh no, Chris. Chris is worried everyone's out to get him. Yeah, just learn and grow, bud. Don't worry about the competition. Just do good tattoos. So why are you getting up and looking at everyone's shit? All right, they're wrapping up the tattoo. We're finally gonna get to see some art. Aw, the dude that Deanna was doing has a little Tanuki Mario on his forearm. It's really good. God, I know. If I don't have any tattoos, and if I did, they would be shit like that. Little Tanuki Mario. Man, oh my God. Um, I've had a lot of bad tattoo ideas over the course of my life. If I had gotten every tattoo that I just like thought of and was like at 17, 18, 19, 20, most of my life, I would be covered in the weirdest, worst tattoos. At one point, I wanted a skull, like a coffin rather, on my neck, with like a hand popping out, holding a heart. At one point, I wanted skull and crossbones tattooed on my eyelids. Guys, I would be covered in shit tattoos if I had gotten every one I wanted. Thank God for being poor. No, yeah. So Sam said, "Are you on mic?" Okay. Sam said they're surprised that I have no tattoos because even they have a few, and it's just like I would love tattoos. I would love to have tattoos. How does anyone fucking afford them? I can barely afford to fucking feed myself. I don't get it. I wish I had the money to get tattoos. I simply do not. More hats off to you if you can get as many as you want. Get bad tattoos. It doesn't fucking matter. You only have one time to live. You're only gonna do this one time, and then you're gonna die, and you're gonna eventually fade into obsolescence. Your consciousness will join the great void of things. Fucking be alive. Do whatever the fuck you want. That's a really beautiful way. Sam said, and I want to quote this directly, it's art that no one can take away from you. All I gotta say. Fucking well put, my friend. Now they're all just in a room talking. I should. They're establishing dynamics. They're establishing the dynamics of the cast. Um, we have a couple of people like kind of giving light criticism, but it's mostly friendly at this point. We have a couple of people being like, "Oh, I'm so scared of all of you. You are so talented," and it's just we're establishing the dynamics of the cast. And now they're going in for critique. I'm very curious because I want to like you never get to see the finished tattoo until this point in the show. You get to see a lot of the process. So they're critiquing Ryan, people who chose Ryan's tattoo. Arnum's first, and Ryan's critique was that you went too hard on it. I wanted delicate, intricate line work, and you made some very dark, chunky colors. Well, blacks. Oh, Katie just did the outline. She didn't do any shadow. She didn't do any of the any color, and that's exactly as the example displayed. But very close up on the tattoo, you can see a couple of places where the line is like. I'm sure this is going to be her critique that the line isn't like perfectly crisp, clean, and that's probably going to be the critique here. Because yeah, if you're not gonna do any of the shading or any of that, you really have to let and you're just doing an outline, you have to let that line, it has to be dead on. And they're not perfect. She won't probably go home though. Oh, Chris went really hard. Delicacy. How delicate can you make this tattoo is what the challenge was. But Chris went. I mean, it looks gorgeous, frankly, but Yeah. Don't feel like that was the prompt he was going with. But yeah, Hiram, Katie, and Chris, all chose Ryan's tattoo. None of them are going to be deemed safe this round. They're all going to have to tattoo next round. Which fair. And now they're going to Ami's, the Japanese style tattoo. Oh. Pawn messed up the colors. Okay. So like Ryan's tattoo, where if you're just going to do the line work, it has to be perfect, and if you're going to do shading and stuff like that, it has to be really light and delicate. With Ami's Japanese style tattoo, they want it to be the exact right colors. Now, as an artist, I could never do that. Like, it would never make sense to me. Like, you would have to, like, and if someone was just, like, spelled it out for me before I went to do the tattoo, I mean, I could probably do it, but, like, why? Why? I don't understand. I guess tradition is, in this case, the idea behind this tattoo, this specific tattoo, is that the image is something that goes back deep into not just tattooing culture, but into the culture of, like I was saying, it was a kabuki mask, and that is part of a part of Japanese culture. So if the coloration of the mask and the scarf and all the things that are in this tattoo um, were sourced back to their original material, the original image, the original uh, uh, significant contributor to that cultural language, then I totally understand that. And I think it's important to respect that. And I think that's, more or less why they chose Japanese. It has a lot of very specific, like, colorways and things like that you need to get right. And the more you know about tattooing and its culture, the more you're going to know about that stuff. But, like, fucking good Charlotte over here is just like, if I came in and wanted a traditional Japanese tattoo and someone told me the colors are wrong, that would really bum me out. And I'm just like, no one would ever say that to you. You're an idiot. Okay. Interesting. Sorry, I'm going back. This guy, the next guy after Pawn, seems like he got everything right. Bob, who is half Japanese, and got the colors right. The rope's the right color, the scarf is white with blue dots. They said the eyes aren't colored in, but they're definitely colored in, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Does he mean like the eyeball? I mean, Judge Gion's tattoo, and he did the shading in the rope, and he did the colors, like, wrong, and the navies are more like teal. And they didn't even criticize it. I mean, maybe they did that off camera. Shion's gonna earn safety over this. Okay. Hold the fuck on. Okay, I think that's... No. So with Bob's tattoo, the eyes are yellow. They're like an orangey kind of bright yellow. And it looks like he's not just using, it doesn't look like he's just using the flesh tone for the inside the eye whites. So I don't even understand what they were judging this for. Like how he could have gotten this wrong. Not to mention he said that it's the only person who did the rope right, who didn't do any shading in it and got the right color. And obviously the only one who did the right color in the actual dots where everyone else failed. So I don't even understand this criticism. And like looking at Gion's tattoo, it's like the exact same. Like the colors are teal, he shaded the rope. So all of the critiques that he had given previously can't be applied to this one for what reason? It's mind blowing. Okay. It is kind of interesting the fact that one of these people has Japanese like ethnic like cultural heritage, and the other two don't. The one who like it's his cultural like shorthand like nails it, gets it right, does ultimately the exact same like tattoo, but more to what the judges want out of it, and still can't get the win. He still can't catch the W. And I wonder why these like predominantly white panel of judges are able to give Gion the pass and not Bob. I don't understand this. They set up a criteria, and then it just doesn't matter. Alright, so we're going to Nico's color realism. I don't know. Those are a really solid tattoo. Ooh. Holly did a really solid eye, but the tear looked kind of bad. Line work wasn't perfect. Creepy Jason did it too. Creepy Jason's looks like the skin is sunburnt. Mine's are really crispy. He didn't do an outline for the tear, which I think helps it look better. Nico said the same thing. He's like, well, it's, heart. I figured it was red. Creepy Jason. Alright, Deanna did the color realism too. Jeez, I thought most people did the Japanese style, but it looks like the most people actually did the color realism. I think Deanna nailed it. She did something really good, really smart with the lighting. Um, Added a lot of contrast to it so that the shading was really radical. Almost like I want to see them all next to each other. They did it with the other tattoos. They showed them all next to each other so we could, as the audience, compare them. But yeah, creepy Jason. It's solid, but I don't like. Yeah, the flesh looks sunburnt. Holly, really beautiful work. But the hard line and the tear definitely looks funny. The line isn't super clean. Like she separated all the eyelashes. Probably did like 60, maybe more perfect eyelash lines. Did every hair in the eyebrow. Everything's really well placed, and her lighting is super clean. Not quite as dark as Deanna's, but ultimately, I feel like because she added like a very like a darker flesh tone around where the light line work around the heart is, and it definitely gives it that quality where it's really popping off the skin. I think it looks really nice. Yeah, it's just that tear definitely looks a little bit. Yeah, there's like a hard line on the left side of the tear that just makes it not necessarily like as premium. Yeah, and Angel did something really interesting with the eyelashes too. Um, but their critique was that she missed a highlight. So like you have the eyelash, and then under the eyelash is that little bit of like eyelid that's going to be peeking out that requires a little bit of a highlight, and she missed that. Okay, moving on. So Deanna gets safety. She doesn't. Her and Gian don't have to tattoo anymore. So it's not 3 rounds. There was 3 different ideas because the next one is the final challenge. Yeah. So instead of going straight to the next part of the competition, they're like going back to the interview room where everyone's hanging out and talking. What's interesting is they've all been there before, and now they're just talking about like where they're theorizing. Oh, this is what the judges want, and like they all know. Ultimately, they've all spent like at least I don't know how long these shoots take, but I'm assuming around a month. Um, Doing this exact same thing. Everyone's more or less got the same amount of experience, but they're all still just explaining to each other how this process is supposed to work. It's not like they're doing this for my benefit or our benefit, the audience. Like, because, like, presumably we've all watched the show, or we wouldn't be watching starting at season 14. Maybe you would. I don't know. Maybe you like Joel Madden more than Dave Navarro. You deserve to be wrong. Everyone can be wrong. It's fine. You want to have a wrong opinion? I support you. Oh, this is a placement challenge. Did you know that sometimes the back of your knee is referred to as the knee ditch? I didn't until Joel Madden just said it. Anyway, these are like parts like the stomach, the ribs, parts that are painful to get tattooed that, people don't necessarily want to get tattooed, or even in a lot of cases to tattoo, because people are going to squirm, people are going to be in pain, and yeah. So this is a placement tattoo challenge. It was a surprise. Oh my god, Navarro just showed up. Like, honest, okay. So the lights just like got real dim for a second. Like there was this big moment, dramatic moment. Everyone's looking at each other like, "Oh, what's happening? We're not overacting at all." And then Dave Navarro on a screen just drops down and is going to deliver the next part of this challenge. I don't know why I look so disappointed. I don't know why I am disappointed, because that is accurate. I am kind of disappointed. I don't know. It's like a conceit. It's like Dave Navarro's not on the show. Don't put him on the show. He doesn't need to be on the show. We've got good Charlotte boy. And Dave's not coming back. That's why I'm disappointed. Because good Charlotte's going to be here for 20-something episodes, and as awful as I feel saying this, I would rather have Dave here than Joel fucking Madden. What's weirder is they're talking to each other, like they're talking to the TV version of Dave Navarro, which means very likely. Well, I guess you could be doing this on some kind of like video chat or something like that, one of those services. But it almost seems like he's just in another room in the production house, and they should have just invited him into the actual room. He's just on a TV, on a screen for no reason. Like there's like he's got a restraining order. I still haven't gotten to the part of this that's a challenge. Okay, he's giving them what they need to tattoo, evidently. They're dragging it out. Oh, I just realized there was an outfit change. This is a separate day of shooting. And they weren't worried about continuity. Although Holly's outfit is like just a different color version of the same outfit she was wearing, and I gotta say, girl, you're killing it. Go, go. Yeah, but Bob has like bucket hat. Bob the bucket hat man. He's got like cow print pants on. I can't tell if I hate it or love it, but his shirt is like 3 sizes too big, and it's like pale orange. That's you make your own decisions on how you feel about that outfit. What are you having them tattoo, Dave? So the canvases, I don't like when they call them canvases. They're people Their customers, their clients, they're not like a pigskin that you practice on. These aren't canvases. I get why you shorthand it like that, but just say client. Just how it's less letters. Fuck you. Anyway, the clients all want these difficult placements, so it's not like the show is like you're gonna want a taint tattoo, because that's what we're doing this week. We're doing difficult tattoo placements, so you're getting tattooed on your butthole. But they also want ridiculous tattoo ideas. Evidently, is the part that Dave wanted to add to this, but he didn't specify what that meant. They just want the most outrageous tattoo designs in the history of the show. That's not how Dave Navarro sounds. I'm not doing a Dave Navarro voice. I'm doing a Sunday, Sunday, Sunday voice because that's the vibe of these kinds of shows. Oh no. All of their canvases. Oh, I did it again. All of these clients are like, oh, I gotta pay attention. Whether they can be tattooed. Okay, I'm gonna just, as they come at me, I'm going to tell you what these people want. So I talked about how, like, dudes with shaved heads and tattoos on the sides or on their face, I'm always a little sussy about. The first guy just wants an illustrative black and white tattoo. He's that type. On his knee. And... oh, right foot, my bad. Oh, with the moon in the background? I think one of the, or maybe the only woman that's part of the clients this round wants a zombie bride rubber ducky on her shin. Zombie bride rubber ducky. The fuck does that even mean? That's my question. This guy that looks like he's in Static X, but like budget Static, like the Static X that mom says you have at home. He wants a realistic black and gray demonic bear made out of trees fighting a Nordic warrior on the back of his head. At least I understand what that is. That's a lot to put on the back of the head. Black and gray macabre flowers with faces in it? Macabre flowers. Macabre. I'm not making fun of pronunciation. I'm making fun of this man. Ponytail. Eyes going from the armpit to the elbow. Armpit to elbow. A bike pedal assembly made out of a Rottweiler head with a bike sprocket mohawk in the knee ditch. This guy is... oh man, this guy, you'll find him in a... he's like the one who stands outside of the push pit doing the hardcore dances and incidentally hitting a lot of people. That's this guy's vibe. A crowd killer. Someone I don't like. I don't like his vibe. They are fucked. This next guy looks like he just got out of the service. He wants a realistic black and gray burning ship. With a crew of colorful clowns? He wants a One Piece tattoo. Maybe I'm wrong. On his stomach? Yeah, I mean, he might not know it, but he wants a One Piece tattoo. Ooh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Stomach does sound unpleasant as fuck. Can you imagine just like a needle poking you in the stomach about a zillion times a second? Yeah, it does. Like they were saying, does it feel like the whole thing is just shooting through your body? The most painful tickle. Thank you, Sam. So, if you want to get tattooed on your stomach, it's gonna be the most painful tickle you've ever had. John and Diana get to do the selection of canvases or clients to the tattooers. Yeah, Gian is already like, how do we make this? It like here's the thing, like if this was just drawing, like in your tablet or whatever as a competition, I think that would be fine to like give someone a really difficult thing, something they might not be naturally or like good at, something they might do something kind of bad, but when you're putting that shit on somebody's skin forever, I feel like you have kind of an obligation to not give shitty fucking jobs to people who can't do them. This is somebody's life, man. Obviously, these people are all tattooed, and they wouldn't probably be going to Ink Master if they weren't like comfortable with getting tattooed, whatever, wherever. But damn, dude, I hate when like you see, especially early in some of these episodes or in some of these seasons, when people leave this show with a bad tattoo that looks like shit and there's no way of fixing it. Like, it makes me feel bad. I feel bad for those people. I hope the show, I know they aren't, but I hope the show is at least paying for laser when it's that bad. Man, I would definitely go on this show though. Not like as an artist. I don't know how to tattoo. First of all, I've never done one. But I would let them tattoo me. And it wouldn't even just be because I want to get tattooed. It's because I want to read the contract. I just want to know what the people going on this show as canvases are like able to like do in these kinds of situations. Like, what's their level of like involvement? Like, I've seen canvases leave in the middle of clients leave in the middle of tattoos in this show. And yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine, dude. I mean, I hope you're getting paid as well as getting a tattoo, because that's the only way this makes sense. Hiram. It's Hiram, madam. Oh, who got the back of the head skull? Back of the head Nordic bear demon thing. Katie. Oh. I mean, she's super talented, so hopefully she'll give a good tattoo. Interesting. Only 5 hours to tattoo this shit. So it's difficult placement, crazy ideas, and usually they get like 6, maybe sometimes 8 on these challenges. So they're cutting an hour out at least. Oh, Chris hasn't seen One Piece. Ah! Katie's canvas wants the weird tattoo on the back of his head. He's very picky. She's neo-traditional. He wants this thing done realism black and gray, I think. Um, and she was like, I do neo-traditional. He's like, I don't want that. Man, the armpit to elbow one, I think, is the hardest one. Like, that's an area of skin that, I mean, first of all, you have to sit for it in an uncomfortable position. Second of all, it's like an area that it's going to be hard to make that, it's going to be really difficult to make that look not wonky as shit, because it's like a twisting area that's, you can adjust the like your skin is moving around in a almost like cylindrical kind of movement when you're moving that part of your body. So getting a clean uh, uh, image that isn't like feeling distorted by the way that your skin moves and twists when you're displaying the tattoo is going to be really difficult. Jason, just complaining about everything. So Holly got the crazy armpit to elbow thing. And she said, I would never tattoo this. I would talk people out of this placement. Uh, and she didn't, though, because she wants to prove that she's able to do shit like this. Oh, Katie talked him out of the bear and the Nordic warrior, and she's just doing like a skull head moth. Well, fair enough. That's something that Katie did a lot in the previous seasons. I mean, she's really talented. I was just like, is it smart for Holly to just go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just do this thing where he wants it, how he wants it? Or is it better if you're like, let's try and move the placement. Let's try and change this idea so that it works better with that part of your body. I mean, I think especially and with a limited amount of time, it's hard to really like work out that kind of it's hard to have that conversation with a client. Like if you're at your shop and you have months maybe to finish the tattoo, you can talk to this person and be like, so we want this bear, we want this Nordic warrior, we want them whatever on the back of your head. Cool, that's a wild idea. Let's figure out a way where we can pull this off, make it work really well into pieces that continue into the future off of it, like maybe down the back or onto the shoulders, even going around the neck into the front. Let's try and figure out a way to make this like a long-term project, or if not for me, for somebody else, another artist down the line. But in this kind of like tight window, like, I mean, you basically either have to just do what they say or present an audible, like on the spot, something almost improvised that is going to be just as satisfactory to that client. And I don't like the ethics of it. I don't even think are something I've really thought about, but I know that like either way, you have to pick one of those two directions. I mean, for obvious reasons, but for also like trying to make sure the client is as satisfied by the end of it as they could be. And I think Holly's way of just like, let's take the challenge and let's fucking dive in, is a little bit more like, for me, if that was me in the chair getting the tattoo, I would be more happy with somebody trying to pull that off in a short amount of time, than somebody talking me out of something that I genuinely want in a very specific spot in my body. But Yeah, I don't know. It's a compelling question. I think worthy of some discussion. Let me know what you think in the chat. No, yeah. Are you on mic? Oh, okay. So sorry, summarizing. Sam's saying that yeah, you have to get some ink on the body, and you only have so much time for the challenge. Um, and yeah, I think that if it's not in your style, trying to pull that audible, like it's a it's a great example of how to be an artist and a salesperson. Like trying to make sure somebody has the best fit for their body that you can do. Like obviously, I was giving the example of if you're in your shop and someone comes to you and says, "Well, I want this traditional." Or like yeah, this traditional tattoo in this very specific placement, and that's like not what you do at all, and your style is completely the opposite of what they want. Like but your buddy across the in the booth next to you or whatever, like is like that's their specialty. You're like, well, I'm not going to be able to make money off of this, but my comrade will. Let me direct you to them, and you can get exactly what you want, exactly the way you want it, and I won't have to bargain with you. Um, right, right, and that would be pretty common in a tattoo shop. But But yeah, and I think in a tattoo shop it might be even more crazy for you to try and do something that isn't your within your wheelhouse, especially when it is within somebody's wheelhouse who's in proximity to you and working, and maybe not working on a tattoo at that moment. It might be even more unethical. It might be a lot more unethical than it is in this show to try and throw an audible in there when you could be helping out a friend, even if it means like, you're not going to make quite as much money this week or whatever off of your labor. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's even like I'm saying unethical, but I don't think that necessarily most tattooers would even see it that way. I mean, tattooing is a very, very specific community of artists, and I might disagree with a lot of the way that they conduct themselves, but I got to admit, it is a pretty tight knit community of very talented people. So, okay, the Zombie Duck Bride. We're seeing Hiram work on the shin. Whew. I mean, he's doing what she said. It's a zombie duck bride, rubber ducky, but it's got like the bones for zombie. What was Holly saying? I missed that. Or Angel. Yeah, Angel's doing like a crazy tree with like some cheese or something. I don't even remember that prompt. Oh, the skull on the foot. Bob's melting down. Bob, it's okay. And he's having it doing like a skin rip. I don't remember that being part of the prompt, but it looks good. Looks really gross actually, but I think that's what it's. I think that's the designed effect, desired effect. So the dude who wanted the armpit tattoo, oh my god, this is amazing. He's got like a 45 pound like weight, but with like anthropomorphized, so it's got a face, it's got arms and legs. The client wanted them to be swinging banana hammock. Evidently, like it was part of what he desired out of this tattoo is this big dicked weight. Bon obliged. That thing is slanging, but it is a little bit. I feel like almost just off center. Like it's like almost like a composite image that you Photoshop together, but one is just slightly off kilter. Maybe it's just the angle. I don't know. Yeah. It's like he doesn't have a butt. It's like his hips are too far forward on the weight. Like Sam says, nobody's symmetrical perfectly, but like art and especially tattoo, a lot of that shit is based on like perfect proportions and stuff like that. A lot of like stuff I don't necessarily even really ascribe to as an artist, but I can definitely see like kind of how that evolves. Like we were talking about with a lot of the color stuff with the kabuki mask earlier. Like I can see why a lot of this stuff is necessary, but a lot of it is directly um, like specifically for competition purposes. Um, like and I don't know. Competition in art isn't necessarily something I'm super into. Like you can see in a lot of different like artist movements and things like that. There are clear like competitors within that. Like some people's entire like desire as an artist is to be better than this other artist who they admire, to in some way surpass the person that they have been inspired by. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me. Like I think in the name of like building a client base or whatever, I think that might be why it comes about, so that you can be like, well, I mean, you want to go to this guy for this tattoo that I do the exact same style. And you could come to me, and I'm the best uh, by these arbitrary standards that have been formed over the course of a period of time. But like any kind of construct, it's just there. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Uh, so like so yeah, I think that a lot of these like we were talking about with the weight that looks slightly off center, like that's not necessarily like a critique of the art or the proportions of the character itself. That's like, or no, it is. It's a critique of the proportions of the character, not because it's like that's what a body should look like. It's like that just catches my eye as a little bit off. And like I said, it could just be the way that the character or the person was sitting or the camera was shooting. We'll get a much better look at it in a little bit when they go to like the review portion of the program. Bob is calming down. I'm happy for him because I want Bob to do well. Bob seems like a pretty nice guy, other than all the bucket hats. Creepy Jason. Creepy Jason is one of those people I was talking about earlier where like they just need to shut up. Like they have bad like ad libs. They're not a good improviser, and the things that just pops out of their mouth first are just often like decades old, like AAVE that white people are just now picking up, and just sounds like it's just visceral cringe. I can't tell with Holly. I'm not sure if I find her attractive or I just want to be her. Every outfit's just fire though. Oh, oh! I finally get okay. So the tree I was talking about earlier, that Angel was doing, isn't a tree. It's fucking broccoli with cheese on it. Oh, like it's a monster anthropomorphized broccoli with like a little cheese rider holding a wooden sword. It's actually dope as hell. Like as far as like the tattoo quality and stuff like that, before they say anything, I can tell that the colors are really nice. Um, I don't know if it's the photo or the tattoo itself, but they're a little bit. They're not like the heavy end of saturation as far as like the like color as far as color goes. But the color does look really nice. She did like a wonderful like blue background behind everything to really help it pop. A little bit of shadow to kind of delineate between uh, background and foreground and give them kind of a solid, stable platform to stand on. The cheese is like got the it's got holes in it, and using that to kind of like make this face is actually really cute. It's actually a really lovely tattoo. I can see this being like a secret layer or something like that, like Magic Card. The cheese, the cheese stands with bro. What I would call this Magic Card. Yeah, Angel's tattoo rips. They liked it too. Ooh, Hiram's rubber ducky zombie bride. He did this really cool thing with it where he gave it a lot of movement. Like you almost put it at an angle. Um, has like a couple of weird. So it has like some stitching in the face, like around where some of the curvature of it goes, like one under the cheekbone, one near the forehead where the two halves of the forehead kind of connect. I I'm not sure. Like a lot of these, you take a toy and you put bones inside of it and you do the art like that. Like I'm not a huge fan, like just on an aesthetic level, because if you're talking about rubber ducky, it doesn't have bones. Rubber duckies don't have bones. I guess that's a weird nitpick, but at the same time, I'm just like, wouldn't it be kind of more interesting if we could see like the inverted image like inside the duck and like maybe even little see the little squeaker, something like that, where it's like it's obvious that it's a rubber ducky. Like, to be fair, this rubber ducky does look like a rubber ducky, doesn't look like a an actual duck. uh, it like meets those aesthetic criteria, and it's also neo-traditional, making it look even more cartoony. So even if it was like a real or real, not real, whatever kind of duck it is, it's still stylistically on point. The colors in this are gorgeous, and the movement that they gave it is really lovely. Like even the veil is like brushing back. The waves are kind of like carrying it. You get this sense of movement out of it. It's really lovely. Composition is really well done as well. Just little pieces, touches here and there that really make it more of a composition than just a piece of art on someone's skin. Oh, Bob. Bob's skull tattoo with the skin rip. Had to use white to really make this thing stand out. The flesh tone wasn't enough, and I don't know. It's messy. I like it, but it definitely feels like yeah, looking at this, yeah, I don't know. Like they're saying it looks too dark, it looks too messy, uh, and I would say this image is readable. Like the contrast in it is solid, but I can see the critique of it not being quite as clean as the rest of everybody else's work. But it's also on a foot, and I feel like if you don't pump a lot of color in at the first step of putting a tattoo on someone's body like this, it's going to fade and a lot faster than most other placements. And maybe that's what Bob was trying to do. They don't really ask him, or at least it's not in the edit. And they're just dunking on it because of how he's using light in the image to give contrast. I don't know. Okay, so we're looking at Pawn's tattoo, the 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 weight with the muscles and the big old ding dong. And looking at it now, I definitely don't have the same kind of like it looks wonky kind of perspective. Although I think you could have made the thigh and butt a little bit more like because he's got a hand right there, kind of covering that placement. And frankly, the hand kind of looks twisted, like in a weird way. But it's kind of like maybe one of those ways that you would see people posing with their big muscles. I don't know. It also looks like the left arm is punching into the weight, and the right arm is on the back of the weight. Like I was saying, this is a weird composite image. It doesn't necessarily like hit like my eye perfectly. But it's a cool tattoo. It's weight with a big old ding dong and a gold tooth. Oh, the clown ship. Okay, so the clown ship on fire. You know what's funny is even though he doesn't know what One Piece is, and this wasn't supposed to be a One Piece tattoo anyway, it does kind of have a One Piece sort of feel on it, but the art style is much more realistic for most of the boat, but the characters are a little bit more cartoony. Like you have this like these perfect masts and sails, these wonderful like lines or shading for smoke and fire, um, and the characters are lit appropriately. Like you have the highlights, the shadows in both of them where they ought to be. But stylistically, they do feel like incongruous with the rest of the piece. That said, I think it's a really cool like vibe. Like it's a cool tattoo, kind of seeing the contrast of those two next to each other, the ship and the cartoony characters, the cartoony clowns. Um, so Katie's back of the head tattoo. That was going to be a demon bear fighting a Nordic warrior. That is now a Death's Head Skull Moth. It doesn't look like the Death's Head Skull Moth that you see in like um, Silence of the Lambs or things like that. Like it's not from nature that exact thing. It's literally like a moth with a skull on its back. And it almost, like, she didn't shade around the skull, but did a nice thick line around it. And it does make it look like it's stamped on there. Tattoo is really clean. It's a really nice tattoo. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of really nice drop shadow under the moth and the leaves attached to the piece of work. It's actually pretty smart choices to make it really feel like almost three-dimensional. But I don't know. I wouldn't want this on my body. And the guy who wanted a bear fighting a Nordic warrior might, I don't know, he might love it. I don't know what this fucking guy's vibe is. Oh, I think that was the guy I said it was a crowd killer. Like, that was his vibe. I didn't like Katie's teeth. Ugh. Oh, the robot dog with the mohawk, the bike. This guy's obviously a bike mechanic who wanted this tattoo because it was all like bike involved, all of the different things. But creepy Jason, oh man, I hate this. Like, I'm trying to make heads or tails of this image. Like, it looks like some spots where there's supposed to be like a hard shadow. He made like wood on this blue robot dog with glowing orange eyes, and like the mouth. And I don't understand this tattoo at all. Like the composition of it. He has this like metal panel kind of going from under the ear down the cheek, where you'd get like those jowls you have on like Saint Bernards and things like that. I think this is supposed to be a Saint Bernard. But the way that he gave it dimension was almost like it's is at like a different angle than the face. It's like the face is turned a little bit more to the side than the jowly part. Like the jowl is more close to straight on than the face. The face is looking off to one side, and it's slight dimensional quality that's coming off funny. But yeah, it makes this tattoo kind of unreadable to me. But they like it. I don't know. It's creepy Jason. Maybe I'm being biased because I hate this man. Okay, I got pissed. I'll be right back. All right, so we're at Holly's tattoo. We're moving on. Um, Holly's black and gray flowers from armpit to elbow. Like I said, this is going to be a difficult. This was going to be a difficult one to pull off. Um, and we're supposed to be like faces and eyes and stuff in the flowers. And I think they wanted it black and gray, so that's what she gave them. And honestly, she did it in a pretty smart way, and not like making it flat or straight on, giving it a lot of shape and dimension. Um, yeah, a lot of the stuff is. I mean, it is very creepy to look at. There's one flower that's got like teeth in it, in the bud. What are they talking about? They critiqued her doing a shadowy outline for this. I mean, they're saying it's not readable. I don't see that at all. They don't like the shading around the outside of the tattoo, which I don't really get. That's how you make it stand out. I think if she had had more time, she would have made a lot of that shading around the tattoo a lot cleaner. Probably a time issue here, because there's some places where it's a like a light drop shadow for the leaves and the petals, but it's very light and almost like in this photo, it almost looks like stubble. Um, so I guess I can kind of see where they're coming from with the critique of it, the background shadow not necessarily being the strongest part of this tattoo. Fair enough. Yeah. They want to give tattoo of the day to Angel or Hiram. So the broccoli and the cheese monster, or the rubber ducky zombie bride. Like, as far as tattoos go, I think these are both really gorgeous. As far as art goes, fucking period. I think Hiram's the composition is a little bit stronger, but Angel's like image overall is much more like. I guess it's more my like what I would enjoy. It's a little cartoony. It's a little scary. Both really cool tattoos. Oh, that's interesting. They're both full color, so they're both full color images, but both of these artists, Hiram and Angel, are both like more of what they do is black and gray. So that's interesting. Oh, cool. Angel and Hiram both just get safety, and that's all of them. Why is Ryan actually simping for Pawn's tattoo? I don't know. I'm starting to feel crazy because I saw so many like just immediate like that looks funny to me kind of things that I thought anyone would point out. They didn't mention any of them. Not at least in the edit. Yeah, and Creepy Jason, I really hated that tattoo. The chrome looked really nice. Oh, they were like discussing whether or not they would give Chris safety, and he was like, "Don't." I mean, no, I can appreciate that on a competitive level. Like, it's almost a stronger move for you to be like, almost like reverse psychologying the judges. Like, don't give me the thing that you're trying to give me. I want to earn it. I love him for that. It's a pretty smart move, although maybe a little transparent. But judges didn't see it as transparent. So there are 3 rounds. This is so confusing. Maybe I need to pay more attention to these. Alright, if I pause anymore, though, this is going to take 7 hours. Okay, so everyone who's safe, there's only like 4 artists left that aren't safe yet. And the safe artists now have to decide stylistically what the remaining artists are going to have to tattoo in the next challenge. It's going to get messy. Okay, so the catch is that they can't do the style that they did in the first round. So they did the fine line Ryan Ashley one. They can't do that style in this next challenge.
Should choose the alternate styles to give to them.
So they have to choose between Japanese fine line, black and gray, or color realism. Katie is sweating. Creepy Jason already just like coming in and trying to make this as difficult as he possibly can for the remaining artists now that he's safe. Everyone was like, let's just see what they can do. Let's give them something that can really help them stand out and show what they're capable of. And Creepy Jason is just like, why are we throwing them softballs all of a sudden? This is $250,000. I hate this man. He's just such a bitch, dude. Like, such a whiny little fucking baby, dude. Like, this shouldn't be psychological warfare. I wish I could show you guys this stuff. I mean, this is so frustrating. Talking about how much of a douche Creepy Jason is, immediately after everyone gets their challenges, he's like, he's saying, I was the only one who wanted to screw all of you over. Give you difficult jobs. Try and get you off the show. And everyone was against me. Wanted to throw you softballs. And for the two guys to just go, meh, that's kind of shitty, bro. Like, I have to think about this. What is the game that he is playing, right? Like, he's trying to make so of the four people, there are two dudes, and he's trying to make those people feel already like feel worse than they already do about the position they find themselves in. This is a show they've all agreed to be on. They all want to compete for being like one of the best tattooers in the world or whatever this show is supposed to mean. But Jason is trying to emasculate them in a way, trying to make them feel like they are less valid going into their tattoo. That the way that he's putting this, like, I wanted to throw you all hardballs, and everyone was against me. Victim complex, obviously, but also everyone was against me, and when you all reacted like that is not what I want to do because it's not what I do, the hardball you just threw me isn't within my typical range of work. You, the competing artists, were upset about that, and what you should have done is what? It's a lose-lose kind of scenario that he's setting up here. If they were confident about it, either before in this portion of the show or later after they were finished, Creepy Jason was going to be a dick about how badly they did those tattoos with how confident they were. And if they were, and now that they aren't confident in these tattoos they've been given, he is making them feel bad for not being enthusiastic enough about the shit sandwich they have been served. Creepy Jason is the kind of dude that you date and tells you look fat in a dress, and then when you get upset that he said you look fat, he's gonna be like, well, you asked, babe. Why are you being such a bitch right now? In other words, a fucking scumbag. A creep. Gaslight, gatekeep, cuck boss. That's Creepy Jason. I think that bowler hat's too tight on him, man. If any of you watching have ever dated a tattooer, have you ever had them shave you? Like shave your legs or intimate areas, your head, whatever. I'm super curious because like a part of their job. Like I don't know, maybe a lot of clients do just shave themselves in the area they're going to get tattooed. But I just saw Bob shaving somebody's thigh, and dude looked like a surgeon, just precise and quick. I don't know. I'd let the man shave my legs. He's also cute, so I would let him shave my legs for that reason too. It's an intimate moment. Holly and Katie are both doing traditional Japanese. And Bob and Chris are both doing color realism. Bob's doing the corgi. Oh, he's doing it on a thigh over scar tissue. Yeah, Bob's shaving his. Yeah, he's having to move over his client's body to find a good placement for this tattoo. It's so funny. In the I can't hear. I was talking to you about that earlier. My ears are really bad. So I always have the captions on, basically anything that I watch. And I'm pretty sure Holly just said fucking around. I know I can do Klingon. Yeah, she said I'm not fucking around this time, but the captions say I'm not fucking around this time, like this is TikTok or something. I can't tell if like whatever caption service they got to do this messed up here, or if they were like doing a censorship dodge. I don't know, but it's fucking hilarious. Like it's not even PH, it's PUCK, like Midsummer. Are you kidding? Sam can make this joke, but I'm not going to repeat it. But yeah, I definitely, yeah, pucking and fucking. It's it's an accent game. So Sam says there's no word for fucking. Is that what you're saying? Or like a curse, right? Like you could. Okay. In Tagalog, there's no like curse word equivalent for fucking. Um, so it's interesting. Um, so Sam's joke was uh, that's how you say it in Tagalog is pucking. I think making a joke about the accent of a lot of Filipino folks. She is allowed to do it. I'm just relaying the joke to you. That's yeah. That's Sam's culture, which is it is interesting that there's no like I'm sure there's plenty of Filipino curses, right? Hard to one translate it into English, right? Yeah. Okay. Um, so Katie is doing this really cool frog. In like the traditional Japanese style, it's like holding these leaves. Um, yeah, it's a really cool tattoo, actually. I love the frog. And Chris is doing a frog too, but a more color realism frog. He's like doing the like a poison dart frog. It's like blue and black, really beautiful reference image. I can't tell if Chris's reference is a photo or a drawing. I wonder about that a lot for this stuff. I know that like whether it's printed out on paper or it's in a like a digital drawing app. I'm always curious about where the tattooers are pulling their reference from, whether or not they're drawing it freehand, they're pulling it up and drawing it on a reference. If like me, they'd go over the photo in a digital art app. But yeah, it definitely it's interesting, and they have a lot of opinions about it in the tattoo community. A lot of which is just being fucking jealous and bitter. Honestly, Bob doing this corgi, it's actually cute as hell. I don't know if it's necessarily like color realism because he's not doing like it's a little bit closer to like a little cartoony, the art style that they're doing it in, but it is very realistic in dimension and things like that. He's like, I don't think people take me seriously as an artist. I'm like, I do, Holly. I stand. Keep keep, keep doing art, punk rock. Like, she's like like telling this to Pon. Pon seems like a nice guy. And then Chris and creepy Jason are talking, and Chris is trying to tell creepy Jason like, I don't feel confident in my like myself generally. All I'm really good at is drawing. I can't, do X, Y, or Z very good. A lot of it having to do with uh, like the social kind of conditions that these two dudes probably grew up under. Uh, Even just being, I mean, Chris is a black man, Jason, or creepy Jason is a white dude. Like, even just those two distinctions make it so there is a gulf, essentially of misunderstanding bound to happen unless you are in constant community and communication with people that are different than you. it's going to be hard for you to understand that there could be so many just very valid, very complicated uh, social, cultural kind of conditions um, that separate you from each other. Uh, and it looks like Creepy Jason is learning this for the first time right here, right now on television. Um, and gotta tell you, he doesn't look happy about it. Okay, so officially only one person is going home today. It looks like Katie's gonna make it to the next round. Her cute little frog. The lines are really clean. The colors are clean. Looks like traditional Japanese style. Mm. They don't like Holly's color work. They liked her line work. Bro, okay, so Nico's like critiquing Bob's photo, and he's like, "Yeah, you just can't tell what's going on in this area, like where the teeth and the gums and the tongue are." And it's like, bro, have you looked at a corgi's mouth ever? You can't make sense of how it works in real life, my friend. Fair enough as art critique, but I think it's like, I mean, kind of making a mountain out of a molehill, at least in the edit. I think it's Chris. That frog is cool, but the colors like don't seem super saturated. Not in like how they the color spectrum, but in how they were applied. Okay, so Holly and Katie are safe officially. They're not going home. Like it's obvious, this corgi looks great. Like I feel like they're just drawing this out. It feels pretty clear cut. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, they're really drawing this out. Like I said, I would love to be on this show just to see the process of it. It's insane. The edits, like, this is at least 4 different outfit changes for these people. So probably 4 days of shooting for this one episode. I mean, Chris's entire hair changes. Okay. Alright, I'm skipping to the next episode because we're just getting on the next time. And I hate that shit. You're not an anime. I don't need to know what happens fucking next time, you fucking goobers. Just makes me think your show is thin. I don't need to know what happened in the last episode. This is on a streaming service, you fucking dorks. Oh my god. Okay, with the intro music, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds of program before they actually get to the episode. 2.5 minutes of my life that I luckily just avoided. So like probably a total like 5 minutes with you consider the post show next time shit. You know what? I said this is an anime. I don't need to know what happens next time, but I fucking hate that in an anime. I don't want you to spoil the story before I watch it, god damn it. I want to experience it. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed the Oh man. Okay, so I have to get this conversation that all these people are having right now. What is with the cow print? Katie's wearing cow print now. Cow print is everywhere in this season. And bad floral prints. My god. Alright. At least Bob isn't wearing the fucking bucket hat. Like, Chris is like, man, Bob is like, Chris got sent home on a great tattoo. I mean, the frog, you know, you go into a shop, you get that tattooed on your body. It might take you showing a few people for them to be like, you know, that part doesn't exactly look great. And I think they missed color right here in this spot. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear that like. Not that it wasn't a good piece of art, it just a confusing one. Not necessarily like um, how do I put this? Uh, Obviously, Chris was uncomfortable. It's not his style of art, and I think that shows in a way. Nothing against him. I'm sure that. I mean, from what we saw in the rest of the first episode, he does good tattoos. That just wasn't a great one. Angel. Uh, oh my god. Honey, what did you just say? I'm terrified from here on out. We're in a sea full of sharks right now because a shark just went home. Man, I hope this is an edit because that's a weird line. That's so silly. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holly continuing to kill it with every outfit. Shut up, good Charlotte. I swear to God, if I wasn't trying to miss any drama, if I wasn't afraid of missing out, I would be skipping through every time this man talks, because oh my god, I hate him. uh, see? uh, so there's like, okay, the challenge today, the flash challenges, where they're, they call it a flash challenge, but they're not actually doing any tattoos. If you've seen any faster, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, basically, every week usually starts off this way in these episodes, where all of the artists are put onto like a couple of different teams, and they all have to work together, create an image, not in the medium that they are typically used to working in. Sometimes they have to do wood burning. Sometimes they have to do uh, decoupage. In this case, they have to make 250 square feet of window that is like 8 by 4 foot, maybe 5 foot segments of window, all separated by these uh, borders. They have to turn that into a piece. Not each individual panel. They have to turn all 250 feet into one uh, uh, image. So we'll see how that goes. They might be working in. I don't know how they're going to be doing. That's just one big uh, front of a building. And they have to design it backwards because they're not looking at it from inside the building, they're looking at it from outside the building, working on it from inside the building. Like the post-its they have out, they're like 4 colors. They're the pastel ones. They have like the black dark gray, they have the pink, they have the blue, they have the yellow and the orange. And I didn't mention, whenever they do these challenges, that means that whoever wins it um, is going to get to do the skull pick, and in that they, if you haven't ever watched this before, they get to decide who does what piece on what customer client, the people who win. Oh, so they're starting off by picking teams. All right, Holly gets to be a picker. So Pawn and Holly. Two teams, okay. I think Pawn wanted to be on uh, Holly's team. Wasn't excited about being one of the people that has to pick teams, but he picked Gion. Holly. Holly picked Creepy Jason. First bad decision I've seen her make. Alright, so it's... it's funny because Holly basically picked all the women in the room, and Pawn basically picked all the men in the room. Other than Holly picked fucking Creepy Jason early on. But yeah, I think what I'm trying to point out is that half of, or under half of the people competing right now are women. And last week they sent home a man. So, already we're starting out, like, on, not necessarily, like, not even representative of the population of the United States. We're, slightly more women than men, just barely. But, still, the show is, predominantly men. How is that? Holly's team started first. They went with a big mouth. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how are they gonna divide up this big window. Other team is doing a fish tank, and I think they were trying to design a fish, but it looked very phallic. Interesting. So yeah, uh, they're not doing the big front of this building. That's all glass. They're doing like part of the interior that has that same design element coming through, but on like one floor. It's interesting they both kind of went with an underwater kind of vibe. Holly's team ended up doing like a big mouth eating a ship that looks like it's a sea monster kind of vibe. They do look pretty dope. Seems like the judges might be split on this one. Yeah, they have 4 judges, so what happens when they tie? It seems like that might be what happened. So yeah, Team Pawn. I like how bold Holly's design was, Holly's team's design was, but both were good. We can be sure that Gion is going to be real weird about it. Who gets the skull picks? Oh, episode 2, we're already getting into alliances. Fucking Gion. Okay, very. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in probably 5. Okay, we're back. Thank you for your patience. So, there's some kind of alliance forming, but there's like a pre-alliance. I don't understand how it formed. They didn't show it on any of the footage with Angel and Hiram and Bob. And now Bob is telling Hiram and Angel about Gian approaching him. I don't understand this part of this game. I feel like this is the this is production, like getting involved or something. I don't know. Maybe they know each other from like within the tattooing community. Maybe they live in similar states. Maybe they tattoo at the same shops. I don't understand. God. Yeah, they're all just talking about alliances. It's really weird. I Deanna and Katie and Holly have their own like team or whatever going now. I mean, yeah, the thing I was talking about earlier with Ryan Ashley's season is how women, regardless of what team they were put on, tended to stick together, and for good reason. By and large, because the dudes are being really annoying, and also because like they're constantly being their work is constantly being like demeaned, or their abilities uh, being critiqued more heavily than the rest of the guys will critique each other. It's just part of the social dynamics, the very social fabric of patriarchal misogyny that we exist in within this country, and many others. Uh, I don't know. I totally understand why a lot of the women tattooers would stick together, considering the industry itself. It tends to be, especially in the past, was a lot more. Was even more heavily misogynistic, more heavily uh, patriarchal. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the only one that really makes sense to me. All I'm saying. The rest of these like alliances are just like seem random. They don't seem to be like I was talking about. They're not like merit based or whatever. Okay, so this is a challenge we've seen before. The challenge today is recreation, if I'm not mistaken, of a famous art piece. Yeah, fine art tattoos. But that's not limited to like, Baroque art or whatever. This is like whatever you know, fine art tattooing can be like cubism. It can be anything, any style that has been uh, a movement of art throughout art history. Yeah, Deanna's saying this is her wheelhouse. Oh, yeah, this is where Katie went home. Was on fine art. She tried to do I think it was a Monet. Van Gogh. I'm not sure which, but that's why she went home. Oh no, Navarro's showing up again. Is he just in every episode? Is it COVID related? Because this was 2020. It was shot in 2020. Yeah! Sam saying, if anyone was going to get COVID, Dave Navarro was a prime candidate. I got to agree. Not to mention, I mean, I don't know where Jane's Addiction is, if they're like doing shows again or what. But it wouldn't surprise me. A lot of bands from that era are still gigging together, and Jane's Addiction was gigging fairly recently in my memory. But it could have been. I mean, no one was really gigging in 2020. Not a lot of people. But maybe Navarro was like, I don't want to be in the bubble. I'll video in, and that's why this is happening this way. And maybe that explains why they're able to live react to him so well. I mean, it could be edits, but it could be he just came to the building and just a different part of it that wasn't part. No, then they would have made him. He could have been tested and all that stuff. I don't know. There's definitely a way for them to have done this either way. That's all I'm saying. But it is weird. I just didn't think he was going to be on this season. Frankly, I was kind of looking forward to it. Not that like I said, I like Dave Navarro for the most part. Talented musician and my kind of weirdo. Although I always thought the Luciferian tattoo is a weird thing, especially right here on his clavicle. Luciferians are fucking weird, man. A lot of them are Nazis. I don't think Dave is, but like I'm a Satanist, sort of, I guess. That's like the religion that I found the most like simpatico with my pre-existing beliefs when I found it. A lot has changed since then, but it's like it's not the atheism plus angle that really sucks me in and gets me interested. It's just the self-empowerment that comes from that kind of belief system. The the kind of occultist belief that we are kind of in our own way, each of us gods, and capable of great and terrible things on a much smaller scale than like some like Zeus or whatever. But it's the belief system, right? I find a lot of empowerment in that, and I think that's where I really I don't know, it was part of my journey of like recovery from alcoholism and a lot of problematic like views that I had. It helped me become a better person, and like I just feel like it's not necessarily like that's not the common takeaway from Satanism. But in like getting into all that stuff, I did meet quite a few Luciferians, and I just think they're fucking weird, man. I think there's a lot going on if you're like, yeah, Satanism, but also I believe the devil is real. I'm praying to Bailey all the day. I think it's cringe, bro. I don't know. Like, it's like, I like evil. Like, it's kind of, at least aesthetically. From the outside, it reads as a form. Exactly. Or like the malicious deities of Skyrim and worshiping them. It's so weird, bro. It's just like you might as well be like into the Greek pantheon, Grecian paganism. I don't even know if that's like a thing. Honestly, I would be into it, but sort of. I would have been in 6th grade for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's all fucking weird to me. I don't like to like if it helps you, makes you want to be a better person, live the best life you can possibly live. fucking embrace it, baby. Get after it. I'm not gonna sit here and make you feel bad about your religion unless its point is to hurt other people. And like, if like your belief system centers around like just the like Satanism is about self-empowerment, belief in yourself, uh, desire for autonomy, and to the lack of social control, being your own person and being that proudly, regardless of how outside of the the status quo that might be. However, I don't think, and I've never thought that that meant, well, I can be a racist then. But for a lot of Satanists, and especially Luciferians, that's exactly what it means. Even as far back as, like, basically the inception of Satanism by LaVey, it was already being infiltrated by Nazis. Just the worst fucking people. And, like, the most cringe version of that, honestly. Which is saying a lot. Anyway, I don't know. It takes the self-empowerment from Satanism and just makes it selfish. It makes it that, like, the idea of competition is so much more involved with that belief system of being better, of getting one over, of hurting other people. I want nothing but bad outcomes for people who believe shit like that. So they are doing recreations. I think that's going to be what the skull pics are used for. I can't imagine trying to interpret paint strokes with a tattoo gun. Like, I barely know how a tattoo gun works. I know that you're supposed to deliver ink underneath a bunch of layers of skin, and that's about it. First client wants the Starry Night Van Gogh as a postage stamp. I got it out with wait, including a lighthouse. Hold on, I need to look at this again. Yeah, they want to add a lighthouse into this Van Gogh. Oh, the second one is the girl with the pearl earring by Vermeer, but they want it as an alien. Oh man, I would die. You couldn't pay me enough for that shit. That one's gold for sure. Bro, why do you guys have bad opinions? Okay, so Bosch, surrealistic. A book, a skull, a raven, and candles, and a man. It looks like a cutaway from, what is it, Garden of Earthly Delights, the Bosch painting? But I don't, it looks like that, but it's just Bosch's style, I think. Screaming a baseball cap is happening, Sam. Just give it time. I love Bosch, and honestly, that might be one of the easier styles to translate into tattoo because a lot of his colors are fairly flat. There is a lot, but because he does so many figures, the shading isn't as drastic. There's a lot of black in those tattoos, a lot of really dark, muddy kind of colors that honestly work really well on skin. So I'd be interested to see who does that one. Honestly, the Vermeer one, I don't know how anyone's gonna pull that off on skin. Like Vermeer is such a crazy thing to think about. Have you seen any of the documentaries on Vermeer? The guy was insane. Like, and just looking at his work, it shows. Like every one of his pieces is just like, I mean, it's as close to photorealism as a painting can get. I think. Like the way that he captures light and figure, shadow. I mean, highlight everything. It's just it is as the eye perceives an image, other than like the aesthetic choices that he makes to make it look more like a painting. It is unbelievable. Vermeer's work. He's not even like my favorite. He's just like if you're looking for photorealism, he's the standard. The next one is a Dali, which I don't. Oh, but he wants you to create your own Dali. Like he wants you to use Dali as a launching point to do a spooky to make use Dolly as a reference to make a black and gray spooky moth with celestial concepts and geometric shapes on the stomach. This is maybe the hardest one, and not even because it's Dolly. Dolly is like definitely an artist. I feel like lends itself well to tattooing. The impressionism like kind of angle definitely makes it so that it's in many ways interpretable. The way that he draws, like the way that his work tends to even in itself stand out stylistically from the separate like structural pieces he puts in the images. It's almost like you can really play around with that style. Like, this guy's talking outside of... Like, this is like going to Dully and being like, could you just do something completely outside of your typical work? Like, he's thinking Dully, but he's really thinking... Like, he thinks he wants Dully, but he really wants, like, futurism. Oh! Liechtenstein. That's... honestly makes the most sense for tattoo. Liechtenstein was kind of a fucking loser, but also, if you're gonna get tattooed, I mean, I guess a lot of the dots, it's gonna be really time consuming. But this guy wants it on his forearm. Oh, and he wants it to be an astronaut playing hockey in space. So it's gonna be small. I'm just saying it's gonna be small on the forearm. This guy's not like swole. So it's not like a big canvas. So a lot of that stuff is going to be fairly easy to pull off. But yeah, those Liechtenstein's like clean ass fucking pointillism stuff. It's so hard to pull off. Like especially make it look really really clean. But it does lend itself really well to tattoo. Same kind of like aesthetic principles apply. Thick, clean line, kind of cartoony. I mean, definitely cartoony. Um, yeah, if I was gonna get a tattoo, like if I was gonna get a recreation of a fine art, if I was gonna get a fine art tattoo, I've actually thought about this a lot because in getting into art, I've talked about this on Live with Lava Sub I do Tuesdays, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on Twitch.tv/nerdcraftlv. But yeah, I've thought about this a lot because that's where I entered, like kind of art. Like I had doodled for most of my life, but in my 20s, I was working in the service department at a Toyota dealership, and I hated my life, and I wanted to die, and I was drinking like 12 Red Bulls a day. I'm exaggerating, but honestly, my stomach was a mess every day. I was super depressed. My dad had just passed away, and so I had started drawing a lot. You know, in the limited, I mean, I would create downtime to do these things. But yeah, I started drawing while I was working in the service department, and I had access. I mean, I was sitting in front of a computer half the time, so I would just sit there and look up different artists that I'd like heard of but never really looked at any other work. So I got really into like. It started out with like actually a lot like Liechtenstein stuff, but like pop art, sci-fi and fantasy, like pulp covers and stuff like that. Frazetta was one of the ones that I got into first, and that led to like Wally Wood and Chelsea Bonestill and um, uh, artists like that from that period of like fantasy covers, film covers, things like that, and done in these very interesting styles, leading to more fine art stuff uh, uh, like Francisco Goya and Caravaggio and things like that, artists like that. And that led into Futurism and Dada, and eventually into kind of more modern art like man raised photography, uh, Francis Bacon. And that's like Francis Bacon is definitely one of my big inspirations. And honestly, if I were going to get fine art tattoos, it'd probably be a Bacon piece. Um, but like I would spend half of my life just looking for the right artist, because getting Francis Bacon reinterpreted in tattoo is I can't even fucking imagine. Like recreating what he does with paint is fucking insane to think about trying to do. So yeah, I don't know. The one that I've thought about getting quite a bit was oh, are you talking about Magritte? Magritte would be smart too. I love Magritte stuff. That was actually our good friend Tisha, the singer of Moonsick, who if you watched a couple of streams ago, we were putting their music on. Tisha got me into Magritte. It's one of her favorite artists, and yeah, I love his work. I used it for one of our live performances. In fact, Tisha and my good buddy Tony, lead singer of Redwood, also in that live stream, uh, did a set with me as Zexfish. So I was behind a booth playing the songs that I had created for that art project. And I put Tony and Tisha on stage with mics connected but not turned on. So it looked like they were performing these pieces um, with sheets tucked into their clothing around their heads, kind of like drawing in the inspiration from Magritte. So I just had them both, two of the most talented vocalists I know, not singing along with this, just pantomiming with a sheet over their face. Those two, such great sports, such wonderful, incredible artists. I love them dearly. Um, Thank you. Yeah, it is. I love performance art. I love when it gets silly and absurd and freaky, and I love that shit. Um, it's my jam. Anyway, so yeah, I've also thought about William Blake's work. The wood panel cuts and stuff like that. There's this one, I can't remember what the fuck it's called, but uh, it's like a godlike figure sitting on or like lowering himself down from on the sun. It's like this very beautiful composition. It's actually my save screen on my phone. um, yeah, I really like that piece a lot, and I've thought about getting that tattooed. I've even tried to recreate it in digital. Maybe that's what I'll do next week on Live with Lava. So I'm trying to do a recreation of a famous art piece, because I've tried it a few times, and like I tried to do a Caravaggio like when I first picked up digital. I didn't do so great. I quit. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I quit doing the Blake piece too. Uh, really difficult, like color blendings and gradients and stuff like that. Stuff that I'm not great at doing. Yeah, no, I don't recommend starting with Caravaggio, but maybe that's what I'll do next week. I'll do a recreation of a fine art piece. Let me know if that's what you'd like to see. I'll do it obviously in digital because I'm not doing it physical. I don't I don't have that kind of time. Unless you want to sit up with me from 3:30 to 10. I don't know. Sam doesn't want to do that. I know that for sure. I don't know if I want to do it, frankly. But yeah, let me know in chat if you have any recommendations, suggestions, whatever, for what fine art piece I'll do this coming Tuesday on Live with Lava Sub. Anyway, Liechtenstein, astronaut, hockey, forearm. Ooh, this is a good one. Picasso Cubism, strawberry jam jar on the chest. They're like wincing at this one, and honestly, Picasso is easy. Not like easy, but like doing that in tattoo would probably be easier than most of these styles. His is so distinct and it's so clean, it lends itself pretty well to tattooing. You would think. Yeah, it would be fun to design too. Absolutely. Maybe that's the issue because they like a lot of these, they're gonna have to be like they're creating the stencil for this. They have to do it from their own imagination, and especially with the timeline, that's gonna be really tough. But yeah, I feel like compared to a lot of these that are going to be so involved in the details, Picasso is going to be kind of the easy one. The next one is literally using Goya's Saturn eating his son um, as their reference, but I don't think that's what they want exactly. They say Baroque decaying skeleton holding its human self. And it's also decomposing and turning into flowers? And it's his first tattoo. Where does he want it? They didn't say where the placement was on this one. Makes I don't think they did. I'm going back. No notes on placement. Yeah, this one I would not want. Goya is like the thing is, especially that era of Goya where the black paintings as they're called, um, that style is so distinct, so intensely involved with like these messy lines, these heavy contrasts that kind of throw off your eye, make the images kind of difficult to read. It's a challenging period of his work where he is out there trying to um, like dude was like majorly depressed. Painted all of his walls in his house black and then started painting on them. This was towards the end of his life. I don't think he cared too much for being alive anymore, and this is how he handled that. I mean, the Black Period of Goya is like literally some of my favorite paintings, almost every single one of them of all time. But I would, I mean, like the Saturn eating his child. You look at that, or Saturn eating his son. I can't remember the proper name for it, but you look at that image and like you try and make sense of it proportionally. It's a lot like Frazetta, where people say Frazetta doesn't know proportion. He doesn't know how to draw figures properly. Everything's out of whack with itself. But that's the point. It's the fucking point. Frazetta was literally a child prodigy. The guy could paint anything, any style. That was what he chose to do. He was a genius, like a literal fucking artistic savant. Um, like that was stylistically what he wanted out of his work. These very Goya-inspired, hard, messy, chaotic paintings full of feeling and passion and violence. And I think, I don't know. It's hard to recreate that. It's hard to even unravel the process of how they made it. So we're in the skull picks now. Deanna wants the Vermeer. I really think Picasso's going to be tough. To be fair, Picasso is not like an uncomplicated artist. I'm not trying to demean his work. I don't know. He's kind of a prick, but oh yeah, and like was dating very young girls in his like 50s and 60s. He was a creep. forgot about that. Thank me for reminding me. I hate it. Anyway, artistically, Picasso's work isn't like uncomplicated. I'm not trying to demean the actual ability um, of Cubism or that period of his work. But like, yeah, it makes sense as a tattoo, and it seems like something like the flat colors, the minimal shading. It seems like something that would be relatively easy for people this talented. So I'm kind of confused why everyone's like shirking at it. Oh. So interesting. Deanna's like, give me Vermeer. I don't want Picasso or Liechtenstein. And I'm just like, girl, I don't know. You can do both. It's not hard. Like, if you're able to do Baroque art, you could basically just take those skills and move them anywhere. Hey, Creepy Jason got the Bosch with like 5 different things they want in the piece. He's gonna talk him out of it. Holly gets the dolly on the tummy. I don't remember that one. Deanna got the cubism. This is the one she was most afraid of. Picasso, that's what she said. Picasso's basically neo-traditional, and it's not, I don't think. Like, but, like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. And Katie got Goya. It's interesting because, like, the Van Gogh or the Monet that she got sent home on last time, honestly, a lot of the same kind of, like, applications of paint, just in much darker colors, kind of translate over to this Goya. Much more earthy tones. So yeah, it'll be interesting. She might actually kill this. She might surprise herself, shit. Everyone's scared of the Bosch, too. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they've said time yet. I'll know for a second. I'll know in a second. Yeah. Holly immediately moves it off the guy's stomach. He's cool about it. I hope creepy Jason goes home. The canvas, the client is a little bit difficult. Oh man, she's gonna make his ass work for this shit. He's, to be fair, Creepy Jason is good at adjusting. He's good at getting the client what they want, even if it's not like exactly what they initially conceived. But yeah, the client is like giving him all these ideas that don't necessarily vibe with like Bosch's like style generally. It's really interesting how the judges are going to take it. Although I don't even know, like, if Creepy Jason would be able to pull it off. Oh. Yeah, like that's the thing. Katie's like, yeah, this is the worst one. She got Goya, and like you scroll over Saturn Eating His Child, and it's so much of what you would see them critique in an actual tattoo. Like that's one of my big problems with this show. Is a lot of the time the judges will critique a piece that if it was like in the fine art world wouldn't be critiqued for the same reasons. Would be critiqued for entirely different reasons. Like when you look at that painting, the figure's eyes are like different shapes, just slightly. They're not like perfectly symmetrical. It's a like I was saying with the when I was comparing him to Frazetta, it's like it's not necessarily proportional. The forearm's super long on the hand eating the kid. Like it's very it's like exactly the kinds of things that most of the time will get you sent home in this competition. So it's really interesting how they are going to interpret Goya's style into something that won't get them sent home. Like that's its own challenge within this challenge. Honestly, Gian got a softball, just a fine line, black and white. I didn't even like remember who was asking for this piece. I don't remember even previewing it.
The thing that I'm most worried about are the cubes. Getting all of these points to be really sharp and crisp. If one thing is off, I'm screwed.
It's chosen a very confusing composition that looks like 90s artists, uh, like using Dolly as an inspiration. Like, I remember we had this piece hanging in the house I grew up in that was like a woman's face at a low opacity, like almost like a over like a ballerina on this large stage that was also like when it comes to the vanishing point into the foreground, it's like water. Like it's tiered in the far background where this silhouetted ballerina is, but the rest of the as you get closer to the foreground of this piece, that's where like this water texture starts appearing. It's like many different things all in this one piece. And that's kind of what I'm seeing in this. She's like doing an eye with a butterfly. The eye kind of looks like vulva, and there's a bunch of geometric cubes as well. It's a weird interpretation of Dolly's work, but I don't know. She might kill this. I don't know. Yeah, and a cube is it's a weird choice to have made. It's like one of those things that's like rudimentary art. Like you get back to the basics, the most uh, like high school, college level kind of classes you would take in art. Like you're gonna be doing a ton of fucking geometric cubes, um, just for practice, warm ups, things like that. Um, so like it's one of those things that like any critic of art, even most artists, are going to critique every last minuscule detail of the line work, the shading, etc., because it's something that's just so shorthand. Yeah. So Jason, between his canvas, his client, not necessarily being super easy to work with, has basically just like started laying out like Edgar Allan Poe bisected with birds flying out of the bisected area. I don't know what the fuck is going on in this piece. But either way, it's not Bosch. I'm shitting the can. I swear to God, this guy finds the dumbest stuff to say intentionally. If he did, I would give him more credit than constantly coming up with the worst catchphrases. It isn't doing a strawberry jar like the client wanted. Oh, Tina's canvas is moving a lot. She's not doing the jar, but she's doing a really cool piece that is absolutely in the style of Picasso. Juan is doing the alien Vermeer. And, like, I know it's a tattoo, but he's doing a lot of pointillism. It's going to be interesting to see how he makes this work in that style. Because it looks like a Wally Wood or a Greg Hildebrandt. Like, it's clean. It's really nice. But it's not fucking Vermeer. The Liechtenstein, Hiram got it, and it actually looks sick as hell. He's crushing that shit. And he's done something really smart. He's spread out a lot of the pointillism to a much greater degree than Liechtenstein would have done. I mean, he was just photocopying and blowing up, like, you know, comic books. But, so that's how all of that happened. Anyway, like, John's tattoo is good. Definitely the easiest one. Oh, our first timer getting the Goya. Oh, she's fucking crushing it, dude. Like, smart use of color. Really using the palette um, in exactly the way Goya would have done. Put on skin. It's fucking smart. Ooh. Yeah, she killed it. And Hiram killed it. I can't tell how much Katie is kidding with Gion, but she's like, she's like, fight me, bro. And I love to see it. Oh, there we go. My sound died for a second. It's still gone. What's happening? Okay, fixed. That was weird. Bob killed Kandinsky, that's for sure. I don't remember him getting that from, but he did like an octopus. But like, yeah, stylistically crushed it. You know, there's not a lot of black line in it though. In past seasons, they definitely would have critiqued this as not having enough hard line, and that the tattoo's lifetime was probably limited because of that. But they didn't give him that critique in this one. Honestly, I think at least partially because he came so close to the style of the original artist. Really solid job. And it's a beautiful tattoo. I mean, I don't know about lifetime and all that stuff. So we finally see the final version of Creepy Jason's Bosch-inspired tattoo, and it's just not that. It's... I don't know what this is. It's like an interpretation of the crow. Or the raven. The raven, rather. Sorry. Because it's like Poe's face, split in half down the center, a book in the open part, and birds flying off of the page and around the head. And a candle on the top. Red candle. But like, it doesn't, like, if I cut out the middle section where the head comes apart, like, I don't think that the two halves meet each other clean. And like, yeah, beyond that, it doesn't hit Bosch's style. Creepy Jason, critiqued very hard, probably won't go home. Alright, so we got Angels, uh, Starry Night, but with a lighthouse as a postage stamp. Honestly, it looks good, but it's not Starry Night. The like swirling lighting effects and stuff like that, they're all present. Using that to even turn the water up to the lighthouse over these rocks. Honestly, not an ugly piece at all. Really nice work, and it definitely feels like it's in the style of Monet. But or wait, sorry, not Monet, right? Where's that thing go? Anyway, I always confuse those two. Doesn't matter. Point is, I think she did really a really solid job with it. I don't know why, but judges really hated it. They were like, "Why is it daytime and not nighttime?" It's like nothing in this is Starry Night. It's just a different thing now. It's inspired by that, but they're like, "Why is it lit up with white? It should be why." I don't get it. It feels like a really harsh critique for no reason. Oh, a couple spots in Deanna's tattoo. They like Deanna's tattoo, but there's a few spots they're pointing out in the zoom that don't hit the line. That like honestly follow the line really well, but are just like millimeters away from actually touching the line. It's one of those classic tattoo critiques. Thank you, Nico. I don't feel Vermeer in it either. Yeah, that's another thing about Vermeer is there's no, it's not line work almost anywhere. It's all light and texture, shadow, and yeah, Han's piece feels like it was pulled out of a really nice like an issue of 2001 AD or something like that, or 21 AD. I can't remember. The British publication that made like Judge Dredd and started Alan Moore's career, shit like that. Mobius drew for them a lot. It doesn't look like a Mobius, but it looks like something from that comic. But yeah, another one of those situations where it's like if you don't put the hard line in, the judges might critique you for not hitting the line hard enough because the lifetime of that tattoo is compromised from then on. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. At the end of the day, Holly's piece definitely feels like Dolly, even with the um, like kind of vulva-like eyelids that she did. Like honestly, because of that, partially at least. The cubes, I don't really get as far as like the influence of Dolly. And honestly, she didn't do the cubes perfect, so they're probably going to critique them pretty heavily. Like some of the lines bend just a hair, some of the lines go outside the cube just a hair. Some of the shading lines don't hit the exact geometric spot where the line should go. So that's going to be the majority of these critiques. Called it. Bummer. It's a good piece. Ryan didn't like Hiram's piece because there's too much detail. Which, for Liechtenstein, it does make sense for that to be a critique. I think flattening it out a lot more. There's a lot of shading, a lot of like lines to indicate where the suit is bunching and things like that. Because it's an astronaut in space playing hockey. So there's going to be a lot of contrast and stuff like that. And I think that's what they're trying to do. Honestly, it's a sick ass tattoo. But I can see how you could critique it as not being within the style exactly. I don't know. Good. What the fuck? They're critiquing Katie's piece. Everybody hates this painting, evidently, in the judges panel, which makes me just question their legitimacy as artists generally. Fucking clown shit. It makes me feel bad. That's the point, you fucking pedants! Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna say it. This is why I don't like tattoo artists. This specific thing. I'm just saying, like, the idea that let me clarify. To me, art is expression. It is trying to for my whole life I've created art because my brain is fucking messy. It's difficult in here. I don't like it. I never wanted to be here. I would have preferred to just not exist. Personally, my feelings. Judge me all you'd like, but that's how I truly have always felt. And so, to deal with that, to deal with the fact that I feel like I fundamentally do not belong here, I have made art. I make music. I make many kinds of art. Many kinds of art. I love it. It's truly what helped. One of the main things that keeps me on this mortal plane. It's not always going to look pretty. It's not always going to feel pretty. It's going to expose the rawest parts of yourself at its best. And that can look like anything technique-wise. You can express yourself whichever way best makes you feel represented by the work that you're creating, makes you feel like you're more alive, makes you feel like that it is something in you have imparted into the work. It is not a competition for who can make the cleanest lines, who can make the nicest, prettiest, happiest image, who can turn decaying flesh into simple colors. That's counterintuitive to the entire process to me. To say you don't like Saturn eating his son almost feels like sure, you might have aesthetic opinions, you might believe this is not what is for you, it's not how you like to make art, it might not even be art that you can you feel comfortable consuming. That's fine, you can hold those opinions. I just think that without the reverence and respect for that kind of work, for that understanding that everyone's going to express themselves differently in that way, it kind of defies everything I understand about why we do this in the first place. I don't know. It feels like they're basing their critique so far of Katie's tattoo based on the fact that they don't like Francisco Goya's work, regardless of the fact that that's what she had to do. Like, honestly, Katie did a really beautiful interpretation of Francisco Goya's work, and outside of her comfort zone, outside of what she typically does as an artist. I feel like that should make her win this challenge by itself. All they have to say is just like, I don't like it, it makes me feel bad. Like, it feels cold, it feels dead, it feels like it's being suffocated. God damn it! Congratulations! We compared, motherfuckers! I don't get it, dude! Shut up! How do you have any business judging an art competition if this is how you fucking approach it, you absolute dumb shits? Like Gion's Art Nouveau like carousel horse, they're gonna love it because it's there. It exists and it's inoffensive. Cowards, I say. Gion won. I have to stop. This is the last episode. I'll finish this one and I'm gonna do something else with my day. This makes me so angry. Like, it's just the easiest thing. Like, of course it's good. If it's not good, you shouldn't be competing. It's the line is really nice. The piece itself is really nice, but it's easy comparatively to every other piece in this competition right now. It is the easiest one. It is black line Art Nouveau. I don't know how you win against any of these other people, even ones who had mistakes in their tattoos. I would rather have any of their tattoos, and it's not because I have anything against Art Nouveau. Katie is beating herself up right now, and it makes me so upset. Holly saying the entire premise of my program here. The most important thing is that we help each other. Talking to Deanna and Katie, we help each other because we know that we can trust each other, and I can't trust anybody else. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Men don't want to compete against competition. They don't want to actually be challenged and push themselves. They want to be exactly who they are that day, all flaws, everything included, and want everyone to be better than them and give them none of the credit for being so. I'm speaking very generally. Men. I apologize. I know not. I'm not going to flip over heads over tails to try and not all men over here, but wow. Katie, Holly, and Deanna, all up for elimination. That sucks. I don't want any of these three to go home. Like, they critique Jason's fairly heavily. They critique Pawns fairly heavily. They're not even to the aesthetic criteria of the artist they were challenged to recreate. And yet, they're not here. Deanna nailed Picasso. Katie nailed Goya. Holly did a really solid Dolly. Of their own imaginations, their own creations. They're sending Deanna home for the Picasso piece. That's so weird. Like, my conspiracy brain is just like, well, they of course don't want women aligning with each other. Production made them throw out one of these three women because they were forming a dangerous alliance.
Something to the world. Maybe Easter title is just not for me.
Dude, it sucks. Dana gets to go home on she has to go home on the challenge where she that is in her wheelhouse. Not necessarily Picasso, but fine art tattoos. That's her bag, and she gets sent home that week. I just want creepy Jason to go home. He sucks as a person. Okay, that is the end of episode 2, season 14, Ink Master. I think we've been live since 1. It is now 4:44. Holy shit. Okay, yeah. Took me a while to get through those episodes, but yeah, that's a few hours of streaming. So I think I'm gonna wrap up here. I hope you've all had a good time. I think in conclusion, this is I gave Ink Master a solid chance to repent for the sins of its past seasons of hating women and dudes being garbage men. But I think it's still a failure. I could continue doing this next week. We could watch all the rest of this season, as far as I care. Or we could do like Love is Blind or Fuckboy Island, because both of those shows are ones I have a lot to say about. Reality dating shows are so messy in very similar ways. We might take even longer. We might take the same amount of time to get through one of those episodes because of how much I'll have to say about it. But less than what I have to say about it, I want to know what you have to say about it. Let me know on my social media, hit my DMs, throw it in a comment. You can find me at Lava Submersible on most social media sites that I'm allowed to promote here. So yeah, definitely let me know what kind of shows you'd want me to react to in the future to critique, and I will be happy to oblige. So, also looking for suggestions for the name of this Saturday Saturday stream, and would be happy to hear those suggestions. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for me today. I'm Weston, and I hope you all take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and good journeys.